What's up, world? How's everybody doing today, tonight, tomorrow? As I always say, whatever time, realm, dimension you're living in, I hope you're doing great, feeling blessed, gracious. It's been raining here in Florida nonstop, but that's nothing compared to what's going on out there in Texas. Folks, first and foremost, please, thoughts and prayers to everybody out there, okay? This is just insanity what everybody's going through in that area. Devastation, flooding, you name it, people losing their homes. I mean, it's something really sad to see. But on that same note, we've seen this before. Maybe some things that are going on we haven't seen at this scale, but I mean, it takes you back to Katrina and things like that. And you have to ask yourself, especially with the weather throughout the world recently, you look at things that happened down in Brazil, you look at all the craziness going on in the Atlantic right now, all in the Gulf, Pacific, you name it. Weather is going wild, and you know, we have the usuals blaming it on global warming, things like that, and they're going to constantly use this as an excuse. But it brings up the question of, are these storms being amplified, created, steered into things? What's actually going on here? Or have we just hit a natural cycle in the earth where this is normal? This is just something we haven't seen before. We've seen bad storms a lot. You know, I've grown up in Florida. I've seen my share of tropical storms and hurricanes and all kinds of things. Right now, you have scientists out there saying that they expect more storms like this because of global warming and things like that. Yeah, you know, that's what they're blaming this on. They're saying that 30% of Harvey is being blamed on humans. When it comes to Harvey, we've seen some strange going-ons with it. We've seen a storm west of Florida strengthen like we've never seen. Right before it hits land, this thing flared up like nothing we could, you know, imagine. And I don't think anybody really saw that coming. And not only that, but the pattern that this thing has taken and the pattern that they see it taking in the future. I can't remember the last big storm like this I've seen that just stalled out and just sat there and then moved all oddly like it's been doing. Like it's just being steered by, you know, somebody with a blindfold on. Not only that, Florida also at the same time, nobody really noticed. We had a little low down on the southwest coast of Florida that just sat there for about almost a week. So it did the same deal. And now it's moved up to Jacksonville, but what was left in that spot down there on southwest Florida, there's another little thing spinning in the same area that this one started. You look out into the Atlantic and you'll see all these little lows just spinning up all over the place. If you have a weather app, bring up the wind patterns and you'll see some wild stuff right now going on. We go back in history though, and we just look at the way that weather has been modified and manipulated in the way that society just seems to ignore it. You go back to the 2008, the Beijing Olympics, and you look at the way that China used this weather manipulation or cloud seeding to make it rain before the Olympics to clear all the rain out. This technology's been here for years. You go back to, I've talked about it before, Operation Popeye during the Vietnam War. They rained these troops out. There's things like the yellow rain. There's a top 10 of quote-unquote conspiracy weather things that are going on that people have talked about throughout the years. But here's the thing, you call them a conspiracy, but these are events that took place. And there's a lot of evidence behind them that shows that these events happen the way that the supposed conspiracy people say they happen. There's admitted generals coming out. There's document after document that has come out and talked about weather control, modification, steering, you name it, seeding, whatever you want to call it. This has been going on. Cloud seeding's been going on probably since the 1930s. Just have this guy show up in these little towns out in the West, Midwest and places, and he tell you he got the miracle in the bottle, he's going to make it rain. They've been doing this for years. This isn't really anything new. They've just perfected it now. We see the way chemtrails are being laced throughout the sky. The ingredients that we're breathing every day in these nasty jokers. And all that aside, all the evidence of weather manipulation, weather modification, which is being, in my eyes, put out there for this whole global warming agenda or climate change, whatever you want to call it. These people are doing all this stuff and blaming it on the climate change or the global warming or whatever you want to call it. They keep doing these things as an excuse. You know, a lot of people say, well, why would they do this? Why would they do this? Well, it's obvious to see. They have an agenda behind it. And all these agendas lead to other things, Agenda 21s, things like that. You name it, it happens, it's there. Not only that, the big smoking gun I feel on this storm, something that has surfaced today that I found, is a video that has come up showing something in the southwest quadrant of the storm that pops up like this little rocket looking thing. It comes up in the middle of this storm, looks like it explodes into this U shape, and then next thing you know it, this storm flares up like crazy. It goes from being a pretty darn decent storm to a monster. And it's just ironic that this thing flies up in there, this weird looking object, looks like it explodes into something, and then boom, here comes the monster Harvey. Yeah. Harvey, meaning battle ready. I heard that from old Jacob there. Guys, if you haven't seen channels like Jacob Israel, I always suggest check him out. Positive message. Always has something good to say. Very informative. I can't say enough good things about him. I know some people talk some garbage about him and say that he's this and he's that, he's Illuminati, blah, blah, blah. We have to be careful out there shunning our own that are out there trying to fight this fight of truth and positivity. So be careful, guys, how far you go. I know I've talked about this with Rick from Boston and all these kinds of channels, but you got to understand, if somebody's doing something good, people are going to try to slander their name. I've had it done to me, all right? And I think you guys can look around and tell I'm no rich Illuminati, even though somebody's going to say, look at him, he's denying it. That means he has one. Be careful how far you go in. You don't want to be in a basement by yourself, down that rabbit hole, fighting a fight by yourself, okay? That's what they want. They are even going to try to divide and conquer communities like the truth, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it, community. They will try to divide and conquer us too. Don't let that happen. But back to this video, folks. If it's really wild, it really shows something here. You see this thing blowing up, exploding. Like I said, the storm flares up like crazy, and we have all these documents, all the history, Harvard coming out, blatantly saying that, oh yeah, we're going to chemtrail the skies, and it's going to be for your own good. All these groups, all these organizations that denied it for years, that have now come out and openly said it like it's nothing, like it's yesterday's news. Yeah, no, the crazies are still crazy. HARP, all these things, CERN, the weather over CERN, the weather that HARP's helped created, the weather, the cloud maker there in Mississippi, footage of some cloud making device. I don't know where it was at. I just got some still shots, but this thing looks like some kind of Army Corps engineer kind of group here, and they're blowing this cloud up somewhere too. They have these machines. They openly admit it, but the public, you know, they label everything as a conspiracy nut job kind of deal. So nobody wants to pay attention to it when it's right in front of our face. You know, if you go back and you look at the agenda these people have, you look at what they want, they will do anything, 9/11, to get what they want, folks. It's hard to get this message out there to everybody. They're brainwashed, they're asleep, whatever you want to call it. They want to be in denial. They never want to think that those that are supposed to be protecting them are really trying to hurt them. From divide and conquer, from weather manipulation, to Illuminatis, to New World Orders, to damn CERN, D-Wave, you go up and down the line. It's all the same groups out there doing these things to us. They do not have our best in mind. leash on these people, folks. There is no telling what they'll do next. Oh yeah, the Yellowstone. Yeah, they're gonna pop a cork in Yellowstone. That ought to just go great. Super idea, guys. Bunch of locos. Anywho, if I hear any more news about Harvey, I think I'll be talking about it a little bit more here and there. And guys, if there's any way that you can help with this, be careful what organizations you give to. You know that there are some crummy, scummy people out there that will try to create some fake charity for Harvey and take all the money. So be careful what you give to, but try if you can to help these folks out, because I guarantee you they're going through some rough times right now. So if you can, just say a prayer for them, okay? That always, if you believe like I do, that's going to help somehow. We know the only real big boss looking out for them is up above. So, folks, do what you can, if you can. If you can't, like I said, just maybe say a prayer for them, all right? As always, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for always giving me this opportunity. More than anything, y'all stay blessed, y'all stay incredible.